Hello, everybody, and welcome to Balikbayan Into the Dark. It's great to see everybody. I'm super excited to get into it. So, uh, in we're going to do our previously on Balikbayan in a short bit, but before we get into it, I was thinking we could introduce ourselves and our characters. I'll go ahead and start. My name is Jamie. I use they, them pronouns, and I made Balikbayan. It's uh, one of my first big games. I'm still working on it right now, and I've lost count of like how many versions we're at currently, but we're still in beta. And I'm really excited to get into it because we've made a lot of changes. Basically, we have all these really cool new little mechanics and aspects of the game. Like today, we're gonna check out the forest, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, so that's me, and I guess we're gonna go in reverse character keeper order, right? So that I'm just gonna spell out that is Agatha, Connie, John, Ting, and then Leandro, just so that I don't shock anybody. So Agatha, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm one of the co-hosts of Asians Represent the podcast. And our recent episode is actually interviewing Jamie, so that's gonna drop sometime soon. I mean, sometime this month, basically. And I'm also a co-host of our Friday show, where we talk about table topics and tabletop role-playing game. It's called The Wrap Up. It happens at the same time as this show, which is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And my character is called Miri the Santalmo, and her pronouns are also she, her. She wanted to investigate, so then she got last time she got Xander to come with her to the sensorium, where she was, I guess, busy with like ghost stuff, and then Xander got caught up in their past. So I don't know what's happening with us now, but that's Mary. Mary is a little spacey.
Hey everybody, I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I play Grist. All pronouns as well. Our Aswang. You can find me on Twitter at by Connie Chong. I also run the Transplanar RPG Twitter, which is an all transgender, people of color led 100% homebrew Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live stream actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist world. I'm the GM and executive producer behind that thing. And we stream Saturdays at 3 p.m. US Central Time on Twitch at Transplanar RPG. So if that sounds interesting to you, swing by this Saturday and check us out. In terms of what happened last session from Grist's perspective, went to the sensorium with the sexy lady Rose to learn more about a not so sexy past and some very freaky, extremely unsexy things going on in the city. She showed up on like a hot ass motorcycle, very retro. It's got wheels in the cyberpunk world, which is unheard of. Shows up, had a talk, went into a wall opened into a tunnel. What's going on? Tunnel went to a greenhouse and my ex is there. What? So I'm very excited to see what happens this session. Now pass it down the character keeper.
Oh, what the heck am I supposed to follow that? Hello, I'm John. You can find me on Twitter at Rymasa, RY0MASA. I do tabletop stuff like this game here, Balikbayan. I also do a game on Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m. when Texas isn't an apocalypse. More notes on that. I don't know if we're playing this week. Who knows if we're playing this week? Shrug. But we do an Expanse TTRPG called The Entanglement, which is run by No Medic over on the Unmade Gaming channel, 8 to 10 p.m. EST. I also stream. I'm a variety street Twitch streamer. I play video games and such from Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. EST. Yesterday on Tuesday, we talked about Hades and learned helplessness and resilience because I am also a tabletop nerd so much in that I am a therapy student who's using it, who's doing research on that therapy. This game, I play Xander. They are the saint of this group, and with a past that is very definitely happy and has no problems whatsoever. I'm going to pass it down the line.
Hi, I'm Ting. My pronouns are he, him. Find me on Twitter, Ting Tut. I play in a Risk campaign on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. EST over at Nerds with Dice. This game I'm playing Chris and the Wada. They use they them pronouns, and they have control of the elements like Avatar. And last time they were at the Sensorium to meet a sympathetic corporate spy known as the Demon's Whisperer, and they got involved with a fight between a imprisoned Dawada and John's character Xander.
Yeah, I guess that leaves me. Hi, my name is Leandro. You see him pronouns. Once again, I'm here to plug the event that my community I'm part of is doing. Roll Plus Bond is doing their second anniversary charity stream. It's to raise funds for the Native American Rights Fund. We are starting at 12 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time this Friday, the 26th, going all the way till the very end of Sunday, February 28th, also Eastern Standard Time. So technically, I guess it would be 12 a.m. Monday is really ending. 72 hours of role-playing games, 18 different games. I can do math. Playing nonstop. Check us out at Roll Plus Bond on Twitter. That's where all the details are at. It's a lot of like indie games. We're kicking off with Takuma Okada's Stew Pot and all sorts of different games. Some of whom were playtested and created in that very same community. So it's all very exciting. That's this weekend. Oh God, I have to find something else to plug next week. Hopefully I'll find something. So the character I'm playing this for Balikbayan Into the Dark is a tikbalang named Ismeria. He uses any and all pronouns. He's someone who carries the memory and spirit of all the animals of the earth that have died out. Oh no. And last week they got a job. They were given a task by the community leader to talk to a person they don't like. They found that person was helping to hold another one of theirs. They were not happy about it, and so struck a deal. Freed person, the Duwada can freed. You can, but in exchange, you can suck out all my hope, I guess. So I'm currently hopeless at the moment. Great energy to bring into going into the forest.
I missed that part straight up.
There was a lot going on. We were all in different stages of emotional turmoil.
It's true. The several
Trauma
stages of
all the
emotional
way
turmoil.
down, folks.
Just several layers of it. But yeah, awesome. So before we jump into it, so last time off stream, we talked about unlocking the forest. So I'm super excited about that. So I'll go ahead and read the description, and then from there we can make our choices about the forest as we unlock it. So the last of the ancient forest is dying in the heart of the city. Plants and beasts, sentient and magical, are directly connected to the life force energy of all that is Bathala. Once we were all Bathala, once we were all connected, long, long ago. Can you help the forest and in turn Bathala grow stronger? Will this lead to the rebirth of magic? So basically, depending on what, there's several ways we can bring about the rebirth of magic, the forest, Soulad, and the spirit realm. So we're going to explore the forest. So everybody pulled their tokens together and we unlocked it. So I think I want to start with, I really like last time when we took turns choosing aesthetics and things like that, but I definitely want to prioritize how Ting sees the forest since it's directly connected to his character. So, Ting, what's the first forest aesthetic that you'd like to pick? I'll read out the options. So we have large crystals sing a song that most can't hear, twisted trees heavy with glowing prayer beads, glitching holograms of animals that play in an unending loop, vines and wires have synthesized to create new forms of life, broken mirrors reflect the forest as it once was, an ancient temple covered in evidence of erased history, the skeletal remains of animals painted with bright colors, spectral gardens who protect the last animal, so we can decide what that is, and small creatures made of metal, scrap, and splintered bone shitting away in the dark, a robotic caretaker that attends to a small nursery of delicate flowers. I think we're excited about that one. Or something else that reminds us of what we've lost. But yeah, but Ting, feel free to pick whatever. I'm sure we're going to get the robot at some point, so don't feel pressure to get that one.
Oh my gosh, it's like Laputa.
Yeah.
The
See,
sky.
I'm gonna pick broken mirrors reflect the force as it once was.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. So do you feel like these broken mirrors, are they like hanging, or are they coming up from the ground? Are they part of the trees? Like, what are you envisioning for the broken mirrors?
Yeah, they're embedded in the bark of the trees, and then some scatter across the ground.
Yeah, I like that. So like as you walk around the forest, you can see what it looked like before, right? So like probably more lush out in the open. Yeah, very, very cool. And so, oh, I also realized in my mind, because we have rainforest here, I'm kind of envisioning a rainforest, but what do people think of the forest? Like, it could be any kind. We could even say it's a mix of all types, right? So, but what kind of forest are we envisioning?
No, I'm down with a rainforest.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like rainforest.
Yeah, that sounds good with me.
Okay,
Fine.
cool. Yeah, it's technically all I've ever known. I just see pictures of other types, along with the
Oof.
winter that I've never experienced in real life. But yeah, and
You
so
don't need it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been hearing how bad it is. So. Oh, but yeah, really, really. Okay, and then next I want to ask yeah, Connie, which one would you like to pick for the forest aesthetic?
Oh boy, I feel like we're all gravitating toward the robotic caretaker, so I'm gonna pick something else. I am really interested in spectral guardians who protect the last animal.
Ooh.
Very cool. Right. So which animal do you think it is? Like, is it something we know, or?
I am personally gravitating toward either an elk, a fox, or a rabbit. But those just feel right to me. But I am open as well to like what other people
Just
feel.
like a raccoon.
just
Ooh,
a possum.
It's like it's protecting the last thing. What is it? Garbage. That's what it is.
Raccoons can be cute. I love the fat raccoon
It's true.
videos.
Oh, I don't like raccoons.
Well, once again, I've never had to actually see one in real life, so they're just cute too.
I got scared by one once, so I don't like them. It popped out of the garbage bin. Anyway,
No.
sorry.
Feels like a personal vendetta. That feels like a personal thing, Agatha.
That raccoon. Wait, like I have a personal vendetta, or that raccoon?
Maybe both. Maybe it's like the thing from It Follows, and it always knows where you are, and it's
It's my
always tracking
sworn
you.
the
enemy.
serious or nemesis.
Yeah, it like, and it was taunting me too. It like burst out of the garbage bin, and I screamed. This was it was at night, and then
Raccoon
And
just
I was
crouching
like-
on the can,
and I
like,
was
why
like,
are you
"Go
yelling? This is
away."
my home. Like,
yeah, but
So-
actually though, it like ran off like a couple of steps, and I was like, "Go away!" And it just turned around and looked at me, and then I backed off. First.
It could sense your weakness. So I'm getting no raccoon from this vibe. So not
I
a
mean,
raccoon.
If you want to have like a hard AF forest, like we could have a raccoon. That's fine. I can live with that.
Though to be fair, Connie did introduce the idea of an elk fox order.
Yeah, something maybe a little bit more majestic. Or
Like a bunny.
I like bunny. I also really like fox for some reason. It feels
Sure. We can do fox. And people know in my other Brinkwood refuge game, I just put antlers on everything. So there's a bear with antlers. There's
Ooh,
anyway,
is it like a jackalope or whatever those
I was
things are
about to
called?
say, I was about to say, because there really is a rabbit with a bunch of antlers. Anyway, we can just stick with the rabbit though. So I guess my next question is it a normal sized rabbit or is it
wait, no, it's a fox, right? Connie said fox.
Oh, did we say fox? Okay. There we go. But yeah, is it a normal sized fox or is it like a big fox or a small one? Like, what are we thinking? And when I say big, I mean like Totoro big. I mean like humongous, like fox.
I really love the idea of a very big, maybe like a horse-sized fox, like very much like Princess Mononoke vibes. Kind of.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Very, very cool. Yeah,
and I think it's very old. I think it's like kind of gray around the muzzle, and its bones creak when it moves.
Oh, I love this so much. Perfect. All right. And then, so for the last one, I know we're all going for the robotic caretaker who tends to the small nursery of delicate flowers, right? So how do we see this robotic caretaker? Do we want it to be like large, right? Or do we see it as a smaller robotic caretaker?
I don't know. What do you think, Leandro?
Yeah, let's make them small. Let's make them like distinctly non-human shape.
Oh, so cute. Yeah. Maybe they roll around when they're moving and then
tiny BB-8s. Yes, good.
Oh, what if they were like bees, like robotic bees, and they pollinate?
Oh yeah,
like in like a BB-8.
Oh, oh gosh.
It's a swarm of bees in a ball. Just the worst nightmare ever.
A sphere of bees.
Oh man.
Cute.
Like, do the bees swarm to like make a face in that ball?
That's
good. I
good.
love that. Yeah, they can do expressions
so cool.
and stuff.
That's terrifying and I love it.
Yeah, I see them looking into the broken mirrors to practice the expressions.
Oh my
but
God.
yeah.
Chris looks at it, forms a middle finger, flips her off.
I think it only does that if Grist like flips them off first and then they just mirror it back at Grist.
Yeah,
Grist is like,
yes, this greeting. We know of it. Perfect.
just-
Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
I was making a snap comment. Don't worry about it. I'm just saying it's that one scene in like Legend of Korra where like Toph's daughter is like, and Korra's like, and the daughter's like, what the heck? Like, you don't get to do that's not how this works. Like,
Water tribe.
For real. All right. And then, so we're going to choose 1 to 2 trebles. I guess I'd recommend maybe just the one. So we have, or we could combine 2. That could also work. But yeah, once again, I'll read it out first. So shadowy scavengers take what they can sell to the corp. A dangerous animal enraged and yearning for vengeance stalks us. Or the spirit realm overlaps with the forest violently and rewrites aspects of it again and again. A strange fluorescent moss threatens to grow over everything, mutating anything beneath it. Pools of toxic water seep through the earth and strange creatures come through. Or any type of machine magic that will cause the forest to react in violent and unpredictable ways, or something else that shows how fragile the forest truly is. So yeah, I'll ask Leandro to pick one because I don't think Leandro's picked anything yet.
Ooh, they're all really good. That's the problem with these pick lists. And you're like, oh, I guess I have to play this game again, so I have to pick the other choice. How dare you? Kind of like, just because we're kind of coming up to the end, I kind of want to add the sense of like something is really tearing up with these parts of the world. So I kind of want the spirit realm overlaps with the forest violently, I mean, partially that's also kind of for my sake. But maybe like I kind of like the idea of like because of all the turmoil happening like in the city around and above, all the so much stuff happened last session that like stuff like other realms are like starting to like bleed in. This is kind of like this is like one of the setting elements, like the magic almost kind of like kind of like forcing all this to happen. So there are like bits of this forest that are being claimed by the spirit realm. Maybe they're pushing through from those mirrors.
Ooh, very cool. Yeah, like maybe the mirrors represent like a weak point, right? Because they keep reflecting the past.
Yeah, maybe like through a mirror, or like an entire, I don't know, another different forest is pouring out, or like, 'cause I'm not actually sure what the spirit realm looks like, but like it's literally pouring out of some of these mirrors. Maybe that's why they're broken, to try and stop the flow. I don't know who did that.
Ooh. Yeah, that's super cool. I really like that. Awesome. Yeah, are we happy? I guess I want to go back to Tig and ask, are you happy with that being the one trouble, or do you want to add another one?
No, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that feels like a lot to deal with already. So very cool. All right, so because you spent 10 tokens, that means we spent 10 tokens. That means we unlock a forest move and a forest creature. So I'll read out the forest moves that we can choose from. So grow something rare and beautiful in the forest. Once again, we earn a token when we do any of these things. So grow something rare and beautiful in the forest. Allow the spirit of a fallen guardian to use your body for a time. Because you've had such a great track record of people borrowing our bodies, I thought, why not add another one? And then give a part of yourself to the forest and describe what grows from it. Enter the doors hidden in the last baleta tree and see where it takes you. So the baleta is like this really, when they're fully grown, they become absolutely huge, and it's like just dozens, if not hundreds of large roots. And they're really connected to a lot of Filipino folklore and a lot of like ghost stories. They're very strong in our folklore, basically. But the baleta is usually like the tree that is in between this world and the next, right? But yeah. And aside from that, sleep in the forest and dream new creatures into being, or bury the bones of your enemy in the forest and see what grows from it. So I'm going to be honest. I wrote that for Grist, just in case they want to bury any bones in the forest. I will be honest and say this group is helping form like the design of the game for sure. But yeah, so which move? Oh, I'm sorry. And then just in case wait, let's pick a move first before we go into the forest creatures. So yeah, so which move are we excited about that we feel like we can tap into? I'll go ahead and ask Agatha, which one do you think?
I feel like either I like the growing things option. So either grow something rare and beautiful in the forest, or give a part of yourself to the forest and describe what grows from it. And I'm cool with either one, so I'm kind of curious to see what everyone else thinks, like which one you want more. Because I feel like, and I also feel like that's a thing that we will definitely be able to trigger, especially the giving yourself, because I feel like we as a group really like to cut up metaphorical
sacrifice
parts of our
bits
bodies,
of us.
our souls. So
yeah, I wrote that because of what Ismaria did, Leandro did last time. So I'll just feed my hope to you so that I can feed the Devana. So but yeah. So I'll ask John, between those two, which one do you really like?
Oh, it's a tough decision.
yes, make the decision for me.
Oh. Okay, can I get both the two again, just so I know it's the right one?
One is just grow something rare and beautiful in the forest, and the other one is give a part of yourself to the forest and describe what grows from it.
Ooh, I like give a part of yourself to the forest because you can do that other thing with that thing. You can
That's
also
true.
grow something absolutely horrible and terrifying, which I also
Yeah, so nice options.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, very cool, very cool. And then last, we're going to pick our forest creature. So earn a token whenever you grant an act of kindness to, so we'll pick one. Capitan, the elderly Nuno who lives in a mound of trash. He demands pretties and secrets. So he could be our raccoon king if we want to.
Raccoon King.
Good.
But basically, a Nuno or Nuno Supunso, they like tend to live in like little mounds, right? To grant wishes and stuff. But yeah, and then Rina, the Sarangay, covered in precious jewels. She tends to the crystal trees and harvests them beautifully. So the Sarangay are basically like, what if Minotaur but water buffalo, right? So right, like like when the Spanish came, they were very confused. They were like, why are people talking about Minotaurs here in the Philippines? Anyway, so and then the next one is Disrock, the blind Encanto, who creates amulets and spells of protection. And Malake, the Pilandok, who spies on the corp and causes mischief. So I sent a picture to Agatha earlier, but basically a Pilandok is a mouse deer. So it's like this combination of this like really fluffy deer with the tiniest tiny legs. I just wanted to like point out what that is.
It's so tiny and so cute.
So tiny.
So tiny, very small. But I named it Malaki, which is big. in Tagalog, because I thought that would be funny.
Good.
So
Which brings us
cute.
to the next one, Maliit. The overly large tarsier and survivor of corp experiments. So a tarsier is like, normally they're super, super tiny and their eyes are so huge. So their brains have been forced to like grow smaller to like accommodate how big their eyes are, basically. So, but I just wanted to make a giant Totoro version. So maliit means small. But anyway, so maliit, the overly large tarsier and survivor corp experiments, they dream of creating a drone big enough to carry them through the city. That's their main goal in life, to just hang out on a drone. And then last, Maganda and Malakas are two bickering trees who love each other fiercely. They care for and protect the last heart seed. So Maganda and Malakas is based off of one of the Tagalog myths. I'm gonna admit it's very gender binary, so we don't have to follow that right now. But basically, Maganda means beautiful and Malakas means strong. So, but I see them more. I may be biased because I'm non-binary, but I see them as non-binary trees in my mind. But yeah, so out of these, I'll ask Ting, which one are you most drawn to? Who you would like to interact with? I kind of see them hanging out with your guardian too. So.
Oh no.
I think either the two trees or Melaki.
Yeah, so cute. Both are very cute. So I'll also ask someone else to break the ties. So Connie, which one are you more drawn to between Malaki and Maganda and Malakas?
Go with the trees. I'm really interested in the last heart seed, and I want to see you play a couple.
Absolutely. I'm game for it. Yeah, so we have our move, we have our forest creature. I think, yeah, that's enough for us to start. I think we'll do a very quick, like we saw bits and pieces already, but I think I just like a visual glimpse of what people see when they watch the show as it is. So Balikbayan, Into the Dark, previously on. And I think this time we'll go in normal character keeper order. So just so that we're clear, it's Ismeria, Frysan, Xander, Grist, and Mary. So let's start with Ismeria. What flash do we see of you from previously on?
Previously on. I think we get like the shot of what did I nearly say, Jammy? No, yeah, Jammy, you're here. Ismeria talking to Balisong. We get like a shot of like just like to their profiles, them at the sensorium, and then cut to them being on that river, amidst all this like uh flora, and then we see like Balisong like lean in to eat Ysmeria's hope. Um and I think the last shot we see is like a face up shot of Ysmeria kind of like looking shell shocked as the Caribou plod along the river past her, and then cut back to the sensorium as chaos is happening around them.
It's so true. It's so true. But yeah, and then next, what do we see of Chryson, the Dewata from previously on?
Kristen is talking to the demon's whisper, and they are explaining to them what's going on. And then it cuts to the punch that knocks out the power, and then Kristen looking down at the arena, the, and the fights happening between the Dewata and Xander as Eli. And then Kristen jumps down and in the coaxes the Dewata into stopping the fight or letting go of their rage.
Yeah,
and then the sort of meanwhile, then there's the factories that are coming online in the city. That was the collateral damage of the blackout.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good stuff. All right, and then what do we see previously on for Xander, who kind of also like everybody else really went through it last time.
Yeah, that's a word for it.
Like visually, how do we want to focus on what happened to Xander?
Yeah. So I think you want to say this like post fuckery or like in media res fuckery is what I think where I'm sitting right now.
Oh yeah, good point.
So I think I don't know what happened immediately afterwards, but I think one of the shots you get for like the scene transition when we cut to like Xander's like character POV in the show that is this show. Xander's sort of standing, I think you see a shot of Xander sort of standing in on the like what's kind of left of the arena that they made. Like I think some of the simulacrum is down because they had that power outage and they sort of maybe things sort of diverted. Like, but they clearly it's cleaned out for this so that people can see what happened after. But he's sort of standing there in the middle of this arena, and you get flashbacks to the fight and all of that stuff, sort of as it like in flickers and in sort of like whiteout flashbacks. And he's just kind of like staring, and Xander's sort of just staring sort of out, eyes kind of unfocused, towards like the back of the like theater kind of area. Like if he's sort of just staring backwards out, and it's kind of because he's also forgotten why that happened. Like he knows what happened, but he has no idea why, because of some stuff that Agatha did there last time. That, and so I think he's trying to figure out why that is happening, but because of what Mary did, has no clue and is mostly just very confused.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, and then what do we see of Grist? So we got a short bit of Grist last time, but
There's just an explosion of exhaust coming from the back of like an old rusty like exhaust pipe, and then we pan out to see like a real sleek like diesel engine motorcycle with like these fat tires. I think like the it's like inlaid with like bone on the side, you know. And then like it like screams up to like a curb of the sensorium with like its holographic artifice just like pumping like beautiful people like all dressed up to the nines, but there's like the smell of like decay and rot underneath it that not even the best holograms can hide. And Gris steps off of the bike like in her like bike suit, but like her muscles are like rippling underneath it because she's Gris and she's got her like hair up in this like big ponytail. And it's like sort of just like going down like an untamed line, being like shaved on the sides. And she's got like she like takes off her helmet, like shakes out her hair, you know, and she like looks up at the sensorium, and then a few moments later, off another bike, I think Rose appears, and the two go arm in arm into the sensorium. Gris sort of tipping down her sunglasses to reveal her pupils, which look like inverted crosses, because we're going real edgy here. Oh, we're gonna cut ourselves on the edge. And then the next shot is Gris and Rose inside like a booth overlooking like the arena, like talking to each other, and Gris looking uncomfortable because the booths respond to your like innermost desires and real thoughts. So there's a lot of stuffed animals, oddly enough, like soft things that make Gris seem uneasy. She's not exactly placated by Rose's insistences that there's a glitch in this particular booth. And then Rose says, to get more answers, Gris, we gotta go through this tunnel. And she does this like cool thing, like opens up a wall and boom, like a corridor forms, like a hidden corridor. And Gris is like, whoa. And before Gris follows Rose through, we see another one of the holograms that popped up inside this booth is a picture of Mary that Grist pauses and then like puts down, so like Mary, like her little sister, like can't see her do this thing, and she follows Rose down the corridor, and it opens up into a greenhouse with like trees and stuff. She's not exactly sure what's going on here. Then they stop at the end of like I want to say like a trellis of like vegetables or like holographic, like fake, like this is all illusion magic, right? There's this isn't the true. I think this was how you described it, Jamie. And then Rose is like, all right, here she is. There's several people, but Gris only has eyes for one person in this greenhouse, which is her ex, the doctor, River. And we sort of left Grist off on like shock seeing River's face again. Because the last time they broke up and saw each other, it was a bad situation to say the least. So that's what happened with Grist.
Awesome. Perfection. And last but not least, Mary, we can definitely do a previously on, but if you also want to add to it, like maybe what was going on with Soulad underneath everything that had you distracted, that's also another possibility. But yeah.
Oh, I can see. Okay, yeah, sure. Hey, that's cool. Just, evidence of death and grief. That's my neutral move. Okay. So, when we cut to the next moment, we're in this dilapidated church with a dais, D-A-I-S. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Anyway, but with that raised platform where Xander is sitting with their head bowed, and Mary appears out of the shadows and says, "You walk like CORP. That could be useful." And then we cut to the blinding lights in the night of like the line, I guess, that's queuing up in front of the sensorium, and Xander walking in, and Mary, the camera goes to Mary just behind them like a shadow, and then as they walk in, there's, from Mary's perspective, you see just being engulfed in mist, and then there's fragments of what looks like people's souls or not necessarily people, but souls, but also fragments of memories that are drifting by, and sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. And when Mary turns to look at Xander, there's a crossover from the old Xander, which was I don't remember the name anymore. What was your old name?
Oh, Eli, right?
Eli, yes.
That's the one.
Eli and Xander, and then the memory of one of those starting to get eaten away by this mist that seems to be grabbing from places, but also consuming them. And so the more that they walk into here, instead of the kind of cyber overlay over everything that makes things look really fancy or project whatever you want to see, what Mary sees is just this very misty landscape and a lot of voices kind of calling out, and a lot of them, she's trying to see if it's actually a soul or if it's just a memory of a soul, because she wants to know who actually needs help and who actually needs to speak through her. So that's what she's been doing, and the visual of it is like she's walking through, and then there would be a hand reaching out, that like a ghostly hand, and then she would walk through it and it would dissipate into mist again.
Ooh, I like that. And so as we cut to, we see like very quick flashes of the fight between Xander slash Eli against the Dewata. We see Chryson stepping in to save her and bring her back from the edge of despair. We see the little god of despair laying a hand on Xander's face before flickering away. And we see the power outage like moving out towards the city. And we get a shot of, I want to say like it's someone's back, looking up at all these screens, right? And we see a close-up of all the different elementals. We see Xander and Mary and Ismeria and Grist and Chryson, and that mysterious figure in the front, arms folded. And they place a hand on Mary's face, and we hear a voice that says, "The sibling, Grist. That's the weak point. That's how we get to Mary." And then the head turns to the side. "Initiate one of Eli's last plans. He'll have wanted it this way." And at that moment, that's when the power shifts back. Like we can see like all the lights were turning off all around the city. And then we see the lights moving back towards the sensorium, and there's this power overload that happens in response to the power going out. And we cut back to River looking desperately at Rose and Grist, saying, "No, we've been compromised somehow. We have to get deeper." And we see the greenhouse and the trellis is starting to like erode away as parts of it turn reflective and shift towards the mirrors. And Grist, there's a moment where Rose looks at you. You can tell she's immediately trying to protect you to make sure you're okay. But River gets there first. And they pull you close to them and they say, "No matter what, don't let go of my hand." And their face is very, very close to yours.
Okay. And I don't.
Perfect. And River holds out. Oh, what are River's pronouns, by the way? What are we thinking for River's pronouns?
They, them is good. I
Okay.
like those pronouns. Yeah.
Cool. And so they hold out a hand, and you can see like it opens up for a moment, like the cybernetic parts shift and start to play around, and you can see the machine magic within them start to move. And it's unmistakable how they have elemental magic built into their system somehow. And Rose says, you promised that you wouldn't not. And at that moment, things start to break down. There's this long corridor of mirrors that start to form. And River holds onto your hand and starts running and says, Rose, we don't have time. And we cut back to, I think we see bits and pieces of everybody else. But the song looks satisfied. The sensorium is back in order. They're fat on the hope that this Maria fed them. So they're looking quite happy with themselves, I think. But as that happens, the sensorium starts to flicker and falter again. The augmented reality is like sucking in all of this power that's coming through, and the augmented reality starts to almost like overreact in a way. And there's a voice that comes over the speakers that everyone can hear into their own implants that says, this is part of a scheduled, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspection. This is part of a scheduled inspection by the CORP. Please stay where you are right now. Our associates will be done with you shortly. And we can see like all around, all these CORP vehicles start to come out. As they come in, you all have a limited amount of time to get out of there. But as that happens, Mary, the ghosts that were moving through you and unable to touch you, we see one that starts to form very strongly. And I'm looking at our forest bits. I think I want it to be, let's have it be the bees. So we have these balls come running out, rolling along, and then there's this buzzing sound of the nanomachines that come through. And Mary, you can tell that they're excited, but they're also nervous. And it's not really a voice, right? But it's more like they have all these different recordings of different sounds that sort of comes together, kind of like a voice. And the voice says, quickly, you have to come with us. They're going to get there before you do, but we have to make sure that the Guardian comes first.
Okay, and Mary, well, so is Xander still around? Okay, so then Mary, hearing this, will turn around and grab Xander's hand, and then let me put her other hand out and like beside the bees, and push. And when she pushes, she's going to make a portal through Soulad to the forest.
Nice.
But she I don't think she has a clear idea of where she needs to go, but Soulad knows where she needs to go. So she just pushes open the door.
Nice, very good. And I want to say that's how everybody gets sucked in, right? Like as Soulad opens up and there's this connection to the spirit realm and the forest, and everything is like shifting together. We see like everyone break off into mirror shards as everybody gets pulled in. Chryson, Xander, Ismaria, bit by bit, just as the CORP arrives. So just in time before they get there, all of you get sucked into the forest. But we see Grist, River, and Rose reach there first since they were rushing towards it. And I think what happens is you all crash into this field of like delicate flowers, and the bees are all over the place, and you can see like the flowers settle all over River and Rose's hair. And you know what? Let's just go all out because you crash into the flowers. I'm gonna say that River lands on top of you, just to like go all out. And River looks at you a little shocked, and immediately pushes themselves off of you to scramble away from you.
I raise an eyebrow and I say, "Oh, that's one way to get my attention back." River, what is this place? Where did you take me? What's going on? The message the corp sent out. I don't understand.
And River shakes their head and sighs. And as they're brushing the flowers off, you can see Rose looks really concerned. And before Rose can say anything, that same arm that was carrying the elemental magic, you can see like it starts to burn red hot. And River, you can tell they're trying to control their expression so the pain doesn't come through, but they grip their arm. And Rose says, I told you, you don't have much time. That's why we need their help. And Rose turns to you and says, all right, answers. The corp is desperate. The corp wants to find ways to take what they can of your elemental magic. There have been experiments, some more successful than others. And you can tell that she is pointedly looking and not looking at River as she says this. And River's trying to hide the arm, like pulling down a jacket to like cover. But you see the telltale numbers of the corp along the side.
What did they do? River, what did they do to you?
And River smiles and said, I had to do what I could to buy you and Mary time.
Buy us time? Time against what? Time to do what? River, you of all people should know better than to deal with the corp. All they do is take and take and take and take until the entire fucking world is taken. What have you done?
River sighs. I did what I had to, just like you did, just like Eli did.
River, that's not fair.
And then Rose senses the tension ramping up between the two of you, and she places a gentle arm on your shoulder. And she says, we're trying to find a way to the heart of the city. Have you heard of it? Do you know what it is?
Some bedtime fairy tale parents tell their children to convince them that there's a better tomorrow when there really isn't. Have you lost your marbles? What is this place? Ew. And she's like brushing like flowers like off her body.
And then when that happens, that's when you hear a distant voice saying, if you told me that we were going to have guests, then I would have prepared better. And then you hear another voice saying, Malakas, I'm sure they won't mind. They're not guests, they're invaders. I've already told you this. And you turn to look behind you, and there are these two trees that are slowly moving towards you. Like one is a really huge tree, and another one is like a smaller one, and they're moving quite slowly towards you. But it's unnerving. Like you don't really see them walking. It's more like they just grow and regrow at this weird pace, and your eyes don't know how to like understand how these two trees are walking.
Sure, yeah. Chris just goes, stay back. Get behind me. And they throw out like an arm and begin to like generate bone spurs from their body.
And that's when River gently places a hand on your arm and says, we don't need to resort to violence first. Not all the time, Grist.
I don't understand.
And with that, the bigger one comes forward, the bigger tree, and they bow low and they say, my name is Maganda, and we're happy to have you. And the other tree, Malakas, the smaller one, says, no, we're not. We're absolutely not happy to have you. What are you doing here? How did you get past the security protocols? And then all the while the bees are like buzzing and they're starting to form gestures, like they're trying to form words and gestures. Like you can tell they're trying to like communicate wildly to the trees. But Maganda like shifts them around, doesn't want to listen to them.
Okay. Grist feels very much like a serial killer being dropped into the middle of like a Winnie the Pooh adventure. She's sort of like her arm like dripping in gore from the bone spurs that came out like a porcupine's quills, turns to Rose as well as River and reiterates, "What is this place?"
And Rose says, "This is the forest. It's our true path to the heart of the city. And I know you said it's a fairy tale, but I assure you, it's very, very real. And River had to pay a high price to get this information from the CORP."
I see. And like a look of like understanding like comes over Grist's face. She doesn't really understand what's going on. And she lowers her arm and like the quills go back in, like and the holes left behind like start to like seal up in this like gross like squicking way. And she just like throws her head back and she laughs. She gestures when she's still laughing, like at the meadow, at like the trees, at like the little like like very cute like bee robots. And she says, "The two of you have completely lost it. You know what? I don't blame you. When your back's against the wall and you've lost all hope, yeah, you construct a fantasy world. This is some sort of adjacent arm to the sensorium, right? Some sort of hippie's paradise. Yeah, I get it. You know what? Whatever you're doing, count me out. River, that go see a mechanic about it, okay? Just file off those CORP serial numbers off of your body. I don't like them on you. And the two of you," and she turns toward the trees, "I don't know what kind of mannequin you are underneath that, dressed up in your holographic bark skin, whatever the fuck, but I want nothing to do with you. This, you think this is what the Earth looked like before all this shit happened? This is a fucking echo. This is an echo of an echo. This is a dream that's a cut off descendant of a true ancestor dreamed up while smoking fucking and she turns and she punches through the cloud of bees and begins to storm off like into a random direction. If she like storms off into like the middle of a plot, like that's perfect. Like she storms off into the middle of where everyone else is headed. Like she starts to move away.
And so as that happens, we see the bees try to desperately follow you. And I think before you move out of earshot, you hear River say, "I told you that they weren't going to help." And right as that happens, speaking of like plot movement, I'm going to say that's in front of you, Grist. That's when the mirrors start to crack and move. And we see like, as you move towards the forest, a lot of the trunks are made up of these strange mirrors, and we see these reflections of what was and what could be. And that's when the mirrors start to form together as a portal. And because Mary is your sister, you can tell when Soulad shenanigans are happening, and you can feel reality starting to shift and respond. And so, Mary, what do we see like as you come out with everybody else? How does Soulad affect the forest for a moment? Like, how does it change or add anything to it?
I'm pretty sure that the parts that are touched by the essence of Soulad they all suddenly die and then regrow back again, but just looking a little bit different.
Absolutely. And then off in the distance, we hear Maganda saying, "And now Soulad, they brought a San Telmo with them. Intruders, the whole lot of them." And
yeah, Mary falls out of the portal.
Fair, honestly.
And face first, but I don't think she's very coordinated, so.
Am I there? Can I try to catch her like on reflex?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest. Yeah.
Okay, like a cool like white knight. Yeah, like I skid forward and I throw out like my big arms and poof, it's like catching like a sack of like a sack of flour like poof, like bridal style a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mary looks like feeling like ill because she brought a lot of people with her, and so she kind of like rolls to the side and just doesn't really seem to recognize that she was caught by someone, that someone is her sister. Is just kind of like,
Hey, kid, Mary.
oh, Chris.
Are you okay? How? She lets out a long suffering sigh, like sort of puts you like on your feet, makes sure you're like not entirely about to keel over. Is the rest of everyone also like warping in at this moment, or was it just Mary?
Oh no, yeah. I think at that moment the mirrors start to break and we see people coming in bit by bit, like in bits and pieces, reforming the mirror shards of themselves. I want to ask Chryson, Chryson and Ismaria, since you went out of your way to protect the Dewata, do you think they came through with you too, or do you think they were left behind the sensorium?
I assume they came through.
Yeah, if John makes a specific face, I assume yes. The answer to the question is yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not trying to influence everything. I'm just very excited.
Let's feed that excitement. Yeah, absolutely.
But everybody starts to come through, including 024. I threw a bunch of numbers together. The Dewata. So we can see like there are all these like hollow cables that are connected to the back of 024, and as she appears in the forest, you can see like it's having a negative effect on her. Like she's having a hard time being in the forest, and she drops down to her knees, and it looks like she's having a panic attack, like she's trying to breathe in. You can tell that there's something in her that's not responding well to being in the forest. But everybody else is there.
Mary is actually going to take Chris' arm and say, Chris, carry me. I'm tired.
Yeah, okay. And Chris pauses for a moment, awkward, and then like lifts up Mary and throws her over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes a little bit, and like turns around and sees everyone who's like is like forming and just goes, Xander, Ismaria, Kristen, and some random woman. What are you doing here?
That's a good question. Where are we? What? Yeah. Everyone's here.
Really sure what it is.
John, you're muted.
Am I? That's awkward. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you better now, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Weird. Wild. Xander just says, your sister brought us here. Don't really know why.
Mary, would you like to explain?
Mary is like trying to get over the feeling of having a shoulder in her stomach.
Chris just and like pulls you like backward like you're a baguette, like pulls you like so you're like leaning forward now and can like breathe better.
The CORP was coming. They were making a sweep of the sensorium. We had to leave, all of us. This was the fastest way. And then the bees said that I should go with them. So I went with them.
To hear? How did you... Can someone please give that woman a cough drop or something?
Chris, can you carry me on your back, not on your shoulder?
Fine. We're not
Thank you.
kids anymore, Mary. And Chris like squats down though and like allows Mary to climb on.
And Mary is like, finally, the way that I want to be carried.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Gris like straightens and turns to the rest of the crew and just says, so the raid was real, which means this isn't a part of the sensorium, which means Rose and River were telling the shit. And she turns and starts to like jog toward where like Rose and River are. And like over like her shoulder goes like, but stop dawdling around unless you want to get rained on by a bunch of bees.
What? And then Xander just like and then follows on. I think also the Xander is going to check on the Dewata first then 024. Because part of what's happening is technically his fault. He's pretty sure. He's not sure exactly what part of it is his fault, but he knows part of it is his fault. So he's going to check on them first before he.
And how do you do that? Like, do you move closer? Do you just ask them a question? Like,
Xander is sort of like, so they kind of move forward and like put themselves sort of in 024's field of vision. Like they don't want to startle them. Like they don't come up from behind them. They sort of come up in front of them slowly, and then try and basically and just say, I think I can help.
and then the Dewata looks up at you, and you can see like under her skin, like the circuitry is like moving sluggishly, the lights. And she looks at you with her big eyes and she says, if you're going to finish me, then just do it quickly.
Well, I can do it quickly. Finish isn't exactly the word. And if 024 doesn't make any attempt to stop them, Xander's going to walk up, kind of put a hand on them, and then I have a neutral move somewhere called Praying for What I Don't Deserve. And so I think what Xander is going to do is a version of Smite the Wicked that he has never done before. He has no idea if it's going to work. And if he kills 024 by accident, it's on him. They both know that, but they both know this could be an outcome of the process. He's trying not to do that. But what he's going to try to do is take, activate Ancient Protocols of Divine Fury and activate Forgotten Satellites can be kind of metaphorical. I think he's absolutely doing this somewhat literally. He's going to channel sort of like probably like a weapon and use it hopefully to burn out the corpware in the Dewata and like try and find like the corpware in the Dewata and burn it out so that they're left as close to their natural state as possible from prior. Yeah,
and we see like they're mostly covered in those numbers. Once again, as a sign that they have angered the corp too many times, as a means of trying to control them. And so as the weapon burns through, I'm going to assume that Ismeria and Chryson are like close by.
Yeah. Ismeria is watching Xander really closely. I think they're closer than probably expected. And I think Ismeria just kind of like said,
this is fair.
Yeah. Are they going to be okay? What are you doing?
What I'm doing is hopefully something that fixes it. Whether or not they'll be okay afterwards is up to them.
Well, I hope it does fix them. I hope they are okay. We've given a lot to take her away from that place.
I think this is because Xander and like Ismeria haven't talked since this happened. I think this is the first time Xander maybe notices something is off with Ismeria and sort of turns to look at them while they're doing this and says, "You paid something, didn't you?"
I think because normally Ismeria's face is full of those flickering HoloLens, but I think they've actually like stopped, as in like they've come closer to actually like form a face. It's still like different animal parts, but they're not flickering anymore. They're kind of like stuck in whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, Xander, have you ever felt hopeless?
And
there's
Xander says, I think I can help with that too.
Help her
Feel like-
first. Help her first. I
Okay.
want to see what your help can do before I accept it.
Oh, the help that I offer you is going to be different than the help I offer her. And Xander will get back to work and hopefully see what happens. Because I don't know what happens. I'm curious.
Yeah. I think like Kismira turns around and probably throws Kristen like a look that's like seems angrier and dirtier than you expect. And but then like Kismira just kind of like shakes their head and says, sorry, I'm this place is odd. This forest, there's 1,000 different stories in me. They all want to explore this place. How are you feeling?
Oh, I guess I'm handling everything as best I can.
That's good. That's good. Best we can. That's all we can do right now. Best we can. Best we can. I want to ask a question, and anyone can answer this. I'm going to use one of my weak move questions. How does the spirit realm break through?
Ooh.
I think Ismir is like kind of pacing. It looks like they're about to pace towards where Grist went, and then they start pacing back because they're like, wait, nope, Xander promised to help. I should stick around here. I'm gonna be close to Kristen because they're kind of the best. But no, apparently the forest needs help. And all the animals want to explore this place and then pace back. They're caught in between a multitude of impulses.
I do have a question actually. For
Sure.
everyone, I guess mostly for Jamie, is like, what's the difference between the spirit realm and Soulad?
Ooh, yeah, good question. So Soulad is mainly the underworld, right? So it deals with spirits, and while the spirit realm is more connected to the wisdom and the knowledge that the Tikbalang draw from, it's actually up to Leandra to say what the key differences are. But so far, we've established that that there is a connection between the two, though, because you did find Ismeria while they were in the middle of transforming and being changed by the heart of the city. So we know that there's a connection between the two, but yeah, now is a good time to sort of like talk about what the differences are.
Yeah, I was actually reading the description of the spirit realm in the city tab, and it being described as like ancient libraries and kind of like a repository of knowledge. I'm almost picturing it as like it's kind of like almost like a collective unconsciousness. Like people dump dump knowledge and stories and dreams into it over time. So it's different from Soulad in that I imagine Soulad is where people's souls actually go. The spirits when they go. Well, the spirit realm is more like it's like an imagining. It's like a repository of like different kinds of knowledges, of different kinds of memories and ideas.
Cool. Yeah, I've been imagining Soulad as like something. It's tied with, so it's death, but because it's death, it's also tied with life, I guess. So it's kind of like more like time passing is how I've been thinking about it. But so then that makes sense that these two things would be linked in some way.
Yeah, like spirit realm, this concept, it's kind of like where people's dreams go. For one who read the Sandman. It's kind of like that, the dreaming. Oh, go on, John. You're making that face, the excited face.
Would you say that if the spirit realm was a place where people's ideas and sort of like memories and desires sort of all kind of go, would you perhaps say that might be something where a place like where prayers would go, and perhaps there might be little gods there? Because this ties in really well with what I was going to do to help you.
Xander underweight to redemption.
Redemption arc.
Because
Yeah.
if it works for the table, I think I would like to propose that the way the spirit realm breaks through is that Ismeri sort of pacing and walking, and you can sort of see like the lights in the lighting in the area starts to change and flicker and grow dimmer. And I think Xander, without turning his gaze away from 024, just kind of speaks to the air. You came back sooner than I expected, as the little god of despair appears, kind of hanging over Ismeri, because despair and hopelessness are kind of like the same thing.
I really like that. Yeah, that is very cool. And I think as the mirrors from the nearby trees show that despair, the little god of despair and Ismeri, their faces are sort of like intermingling and exchanging with each other, right? And yeah, I think this is a good time to take our break if everybody is cool with it, and then we'll see how it all comes together. So we'll take a 10-minute break. Is that right, Agatha? 10 minutes? Yeah. And then so for everybody who's watching chat, please go ahead and take a break with us, get some water, get hydrated, walk around, and we'll see you all in 10 minutes. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We're back with Balikbayan Into the Dark. So excited. So right before we went on break, we saw the little god of despair reappear. No big deal, totally fine. It's going to be great. And I think this is when we realize that the spirit realm is slowly starting to rewrite parts of the forest. And I think the way that this looks is because the little god of despair has so much, this forest represents hope more than anything else, and there's so much for despair to work with here right now. So I think it's true that I forgot which weak move did we trigger in order to. That's right. Ismeri was asking the question. Yeah. And I think everybody else in the scene also picks up a token, because technically we're dealing with facing a trouble and its complications from the forest trouble. So everyone here gets to pick up a token. And I think the best way we're going to do that is, how does the forest reflect the despair in your heart? Like in ways big or small, like what changes in the forest around you as the little god of despair starts to rewrite aspects of the forest. So maybe we'll start with Ismeri, because the little god of despair is attached to you now.
I think can this extend out so that everyone can like sense this? I think
you can share your pain with everybody. You know?
I mean, I'd rather just keep it all in, you know. I don't want to have to hurt everyone, but sometimes pain will out. Yeah, I think. Okay, here it is. I think in the shards of mirrors that's kind of like around the trees, we all hear the thunderous clapping of hooves. And sadly, there's no reactive graffiti in here. But I think through the mirrors, you see this majestic spirit of a horse, kind of like almost, as in you feel its presence. It's almost like it's running, galloping around us and past us. It feels like it feels free, as in like it found the forest, it found nature, and it's neighing and whinnying in all its, it looks beautiful. but to Ysmeria, they they see that, and they just can't help but like cry out because suddenly they realize there's, oh, no wonder Barisang managed to eat their hope as easily as they could. No matter no wonder Ismeria was just quick to like give it away. There's a there was something missing there that they didn't realize was missing, because the way Ismeria was made was a bunch of spirits and ideas melded into this one form, and now one of those ideas is gone, and they just, oh man, they're gonna freak out. This might be another spirit. This might be another weak move. I'm sorry if that's okay with folks.
I mean, that linked so well. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, lose control of your shape and abilities. That sounds great. I think some of the spirits, some of the memories, some of the ideas that Ismeri holds within them, they see the horse that's free, and suddenly they think, wait, shit, that could be us. So I think, well, this is what happens when the, I think maybe that's even what the God of Despair says. It says to the many spirits linking within Ismeria, that could be you. That could be all of you. Why were you even here in the first place? Why are you this person in the first place? You could be so many things. You are so many things. Why are you just this one thing? And then Ismeri explodes. Goodbye. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think when it looks, no, it's gonna explode. Oh man, I wasn't even looking at the chat, but I saw the in the Twitch chat. No, I don't want the rest of the campaign to be literally herding cats, although probably a few. I think losing control does involve losing more of these. So I think there's like 3 different creatures that kind of like burst out of this area. There's this beautiful, resplendent like bird, this big like harpy eagle that just kind of like burst out. It's like majestic. It's like the largest bird of prey in the world or something like that. So it looks gigantic when it kind of like bursts out of Ismeria's head. Don't worry, her head's all holographic, so it just looks like a hologram bursting out. And then like they suck in like a breath, and like then like this big water buffalo bursts out of their head again, and it starts like cantering around. And I think like the holographic head, I'm nearly done, I'm sorry, this is taking a while. Okay, John's making the excited face. I think if you can see like there's now like cracks where Yasmeria's face is. And I think through those cracks, you'll see like a human face. It's made out of like the dark matter that I said Mary's original form is, but I think it'd be a face that I think Mary's far away, so she wouldn't recognize it, but she'd be the one to recognize this face. Oh dear, my internet has frozen.
Oh no, we can still hear you though.
Oh, you can still hear me. Yeah, it's just everyone's face froze. Wow. Darn you, internet. But yeah, this is a face that Mary would recognize, and they look like they've woken up for the first time in years. But then like the holographic face kind of like starts covering up again, and Ismeria is just kind of like on their knees, head down on the floor, being like, no, just no. So all that happened.
Yeah. So in this continuing whirlwind of despair, what does Xander see, or what happens to Xander?
Sorry, hold on. You caught me in the middle of a meme. Give me a minute. uh, I think I just equipment to emotional whiplash from posting in Mary is several fish and not a guy to being serious. So I think so. Well, like Little God of Despair is sort of whispering. I think almost like, and Xander sort of. Well, first off, what is happening with 024, and are they okay or did they die? This will probably change what happens next. I think is the question.
For the Dewata, yeah, I
Yeah.
think what happens is, sorry for stop for a moment there. Yeah, when you, because like I have a feeling all of this is happening really quickly, right? So
Mhm.
you have the weapon pointed at them,
Mhm.
and what is the weapon exactly? Like, is it a part of your body, or is it like a physical thing?
So my thought was like, has anyone here played Gears like Gears of War, like the Hammer of Dawn, like the big satellite beam laser kind of thing? I think it's like that. Like there's like just there's light beaming down. Like it is there is a beam of light that is it is like it's bright, but it's harsh in a kind of like that way that like too much light is too much. Like light is warmth and and being able to see, but too much of it is blinding and harsh. It's like that kind of light has now sort of like poured down around Xander and 024, sort of like from the sky, like it's punched through like the dark and the cloud, it's punched through the rain and the forest canopies, and it's burned a hole through it burned a hole through the forest. Oops, my bad. We'll deal with that later. Down into like on top of them, and is like, but it's very selectively burning away the targets that Xander sort of marked in burning away. It try to take away some of that corp tech from 024, free them out from that. So I think Xander is sort of sitting in this like pool of light, like kneeling next to 024, the two of them kind of illuminated in silhouette. The kind of way like when you have someone sort of standing like in front of a really bright window. And like so it's mostly like shadow, but with sort of flickers of light here and there, as sort of like sparks burst up here. I think Xander sort of turns without sort of turning to look at the little god of despair, says, today you get leniency. I gave you it before and you know that. Today you eat your fill of despair that is already present, and you leave without causing more. And so I think what Xander's trying to get across is Maria has hopelessness, right? So I think what that's kind of the driving force at this point. Xander wants a little despair to take the hopelessness with you, feed off of that which is yours, grow in strength for you, and become more powerful already, because you can just take that into and leave. You will become stronger, and we will have a reckoning later. But for right now, your strength is not my number one concern. I think that's where Xander's at. That's what Xander was intending to do before Oops. But and that was sort of what Xander's is like reckoning with his Marius was going to be for help, was feed the little god of despair, make it stronger, bring it a little bit further back into the world. It's kind of almost in the exact opposite of what he's trying to do, but to save a person that he knows.
Yeah, I see. And so like as that happens, as the light is burning around 024, we can see for a moment that there's like her face just crumples into relief, and you realize it's because she thinks that she's going to die, but instead the numbers start to break away and they start to lift off of her face and her body and her skin, and you can see like it's working, the cleansing is going through, and instead what happens is the same flowers that were growing in the field nearby start to grow all over her, and she looks at you like she's confused, like she wasn't expecting this kindness from you, but at the same time she steps up into the light, and you can see that as a Dewata she starts storing away the light, like she starts pulling in your magic. In fact, I'm going to offer, do you want to, you have a weak move. How does my magic flicker and fade? Will you allow the Dewata to take some of your magic into herself?
Ooh. Ooh. I think yes. I think what it is that whatever satellite that is, I think will exit Xander's protocol. Like that's just not something he gets. That belongs. Whatever function that means. I think that's maybe that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, and we see the Dewata like reach out a hand, and you can sense like her just pulling in all of that energy, just absorbing it into herself. And we get a cut of the satellite, like it starts to crack and break and fall apart as it moves around into pieces in orbit. But yeah, and so I think
God, that's a fucking cool. Continue.
I have grown fat on the many years of watching anime. So, but yeah.
Same.
And I think, but we see the little god of despair looks happy about this, because the more hope the Dewata has, then the more there is to feed on later. But what do we see of Kristen? Like, how does the despair respond to you? What does the spirit realm do to like rewrite the part of the forest around you or an aspect of you?
So all this is happening like quickly. I think that this is going to take place before the Xander stuff. You see the ground around Kristen turn black and ashy, and there's ash falling from the sky around Kristen, and the little goddess there is saying to them, it happened before, you know, happening again, and you cannot stop it, and it'll be your fault again as well.
But yeah, it's true. Just to clarify that the little god of despair is still there, still connected to Ismeria, and is sort of like biding their time, trying to. I guess I want to say like outright, they're a greedy. They're like a greedy, horrible little god, and they're trying to see how much power they can suck out before they have to leave. So yeah, definitely good question. But yeah, is there anything else we see of Kristen before we switch back to see someone else?
I'm gonna say I want to use a weak move. How do I lose control in this?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Ooh, in the forest too. Does anyone have an idea for what could happen in this moment?
That's a great question. I mean, like, how do you lose control in this moment? I mean, like, is it your power or is it your form?
It could be either or both.
I am always for escalating the situation drastically. I really like the idea of one element in particular spiraling out of control and threatening to destroy the forest. Coming out of Kristen in this moment.
I dropped a laser satellite, so I vote fire.
Great.
Wow,
Fire is
the forest guardians really bet on the wrong group of elements.
Yeah, no.
And it shows one of them was right about invaders.
Yeah.
We're not really trying to invade. We're just kind of accidentally destroying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real awkward, you know.
Yeah, no big deal. But yeah, I like that. Like I think we see the fire first in the mirrors, but then the spirit realm overwrites and starts to bring that fire into the forest itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the reflection first, and then it's pulled into a reality.
Yeah. Like we see it like overwrite, like really like there's a glitch as the fires start to build in the forest. And yeah, I think we're gonna switch to Grist, you see when the fires start to erupt, and I think that's when you see Rose like look at you for a moment, and she beckons you to come closer, and she looks panicked, and she runs to you and she goes, I lost track of River. I don't know what's happening, and now this fire, I'm worried that she's going to do something stupid. I'm worried that they're going to do something stupid.
What?
She says.
Was it the trees? Did the trees take her or take them? Damn it. Mary. Question. Is the despair affecting Grist and Mary and Rose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, okay.
How are you coping on my back, Mary? How's that hanging?
Yeah, so actually, I was going to ask you because we're sisters, and also because I'm right, like our bodies are like touching each other.
Touching,
right now.
yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. Like I was gonna ask you, how does my magic flicker and fade? And I think it might be very interesting, like for us to respond to the fires that are starting to spiral out of the mirrors. And I wonder if, I mean, what Mary would want to do is to say, oh no, that shouldn't be here, right? Like that belongs somewhere else. And I think she's already reaching out and trying to do something. So like one hand is like over your shoulder and the other hand is like starting to reach out.
Ooh, I have a horrible idea for your question, Agatha, which is that as you're trying to do this, can we say that like it's because you're still kind of like fucked up from like the portal stuff, right? Like you're still kind of weak, right? So maybe like it's like not quite enough. Like whatever magic you're trying to do isn't enough to like combat like Kristen's like insane like inferno, right? And I see this, and Grist sees like the fear and despair in Rose's eyes, looks around, the fire's beginning to spread, smoke is filling the air, like I'm starting to cough, and you're still weak on me. So maybe how your magic flickers and fades is because I like either like in just this moment I take it from you.
Yeah.
Like can I like use you as like a battery pack or something, like to like make my magic stronger, because like we're squaring off against a freaking Dewata. Like you're like the fucking Avatar. Like we're gonna need some like major juice to be able to overcome
do you think you do
powers.
Do you think you do it consciously or unconsciously?
I think it's unconsciously because our bodies are touching. Right. Like, because we're and Aswang and like Santalmo, like I'm reading the descriptions, we're both about like despairing and stuff, right? Over like death. So I turn, right, with like you on my back, you know, as like the inferno is like raging like around us. And I've got like one hand like on you, and like my eyes, like I think the crosses like glow like a blood red. You can see it like through like my sunglasses, which are still on, of course. And I just sort of bellow out, and like how I think how the little god of despair is changing, is responding to me, is I think in flashes of the fire in the mirrors, like we see the faces, like, and all of you can see this, the faces of every single person I've ever killed. It's like flashing through, like screaming and like shouting, and they look furious and they want to like climb out, right, of the mirror. Like some of their like broken hands and like bloody nails are trying to like get out of the trees. But I turn around and I have a token, right? Okay, that's good. And I say, despair. It hasn't been a long time since I've seen you. You think this terrifies me? You think you can scare me? I am the monster under the bed. You don't make me, I make you. And I was like
born in the darkness.
Yes, I was born in a very Bane moment. And I'm going to use a token to intimidate or terrify the little god of despair by like sucking on my sister's soul juice.
Yeah, and even visually, like while Grace is kind of like glowing with this like this sharp visceral power, you kind of see Mary like fade once again, and it's like the edges of her it seems to be kind of almost like fading and fuzzy a little bit.
Like you're literally like turning into a ghost, like as you're on me.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So I do that, and I'm trying to like scare the little god of despair away from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think like as that happens, you see that the little god of despair, because of the fear, um, they let go of the spirit realm for a moment, and it's enough for the spirit realm to start overriding them, right, and pulling them back into the spirit realm. And you can see their face starts to change, right, and it flickers through quickly all of the people that you've ever hurt. Like, it starts to show up on their face. And because I can't resist, I'm going to say the last face was River's face before it gets pulled into the
God.
spirit realm.
Oh God. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Chris is definitely not okay. But they're standing there trying to make a big show of being strong and courageous for their sister.
I'm trying to see if we hit any of these doors by accident, but yeah. Okay. And then so but the thing is, we still have this fire that's breaking out throughout the forest, and I think in the distance, like if this was like Ghost in the Shell or a Ghibli film, like this is the moment when we hear like the shrine music, da-da, right, and there are all these choir, right? It's that kind of music that starts echoing all throughout, and we see breaking through the trees. There is this elderly fox guardian that moves through, but the fire is being this huge fiery being, like it's almost becoming translucent, right? And we see like on either side of it there are these spectral guardians that move around, but you can see that the spirit realm is overriding this animal, and they move towards it looks like they're moving towards, like you can see in the distance it's River and the two tree guardians. Like there's a standoff that's happening of some kind in the distance. So what do we do?
Can I shout at Ismiri?
Oh, Agatha, you're muted.
Ah, wrecked again. One day. Anyway, that's why they don't pay me to do this. Actually, I would love for Mary to shout at Ismeria, to say basically, Ismeria, stop Kristen. You have to stop them.
I think it's Maria's. The god of despair has been basically out emoed out of the scene.
This is a very angsty group.
Yeah. I guess that you put this group together. You should have known.
True.
Ismaria kind of like stands up when he hears you like call. But I think at this point the holographic lenses have kind of like fallen away for a moment. So you see like the weird dark matter that was the original form. And then that dark matter coalesces into like a human face, a human head, basically. And for a moment, I think, they turn back to look at you, and you can see that like this person has like very carefully like it's like a very like careful corporate looking haircut. It's like blonde and like manicured. They have like pixie like elfish kind of like ears. And Mary, you recognize this person. Since the last time you saw them, there was like being belted with like many different spirits. And I think they just kind of give you like a nod. They look quite impassive, I guess. And then they turn towards to Kristen. How's Kristen doing?
Kristen is floating off the ground a little bit, and But I think once the god despair leaves, they get a little bit of sense back. But still not, still kind of out of it and not in full control.
Yeah, and I think Miss Maria or whoever this is will say, "This is the forest you love, isn't it? You don't want it to go by your hand, don't you?" And they offer a hand to Kristen, and I'm gonna spend a token to embody the wisdom and chaos of the spirit realm. And I think what this looks like is like they offer one hand to Kristen, and then another they kind of like almost brush against the the nearest like mirror shards, and I can't see what I duende's moves are, but it's kind of like that. That's what they're pulling from. Because if I remember correctly, the duende playbook is all about tools and creating stuff. So they're using their magic, at least culled from the idea of this duende from the spirit realm, to reform um, um, the mirrors next to them so that they can be a path for the fire to take. And Yusmeria, or whoever this is, keeps talking to Kristen and says, "Thank you for driving that thing away. There's still no hope, but at least there's no despair. But the forest cannot take this fire of yours for too long. It'll eat it all away. Give me your hand. And the fire can go to where it needs to go."
And Kristen will take his beer's hand, like after like the music is swelling and like the camera's coming back between the two of them, and then to build that tension, that dramatic moment, and finally Kristen takes Esmera's hand.
Yeah. I think I guess the the chaos means is like the spirit realm can take this fire. It's fine. They'll just add it to to their list of ideas. So I guess what I want for this, what this looks like, is like the fire that was spreading out of Kristen will kind of get like sucked in back to them, and it gets channeled through to Ismeria, who kind of like when it goes through, it almost kind of almost gouts up their neck, and then all those hollow screens go back up, and that duende's face goes away for a moment as the fire channels through them, and it channels through their other hand, and that goes through like the mirror, and just feeds it through there. That chaos. And yeah, we linger on that moment for a while. People will be like, "Wow, their effects budget is bigger than I thought." Jesus.
That's where it all went.
Yes. For some reason, Ismeria keeps taking the effects budget. I'm sorry. First was the horse, and now this. But I think as soon as like the fire goes, Chris, and you see like that Ismeria's like duende face for a moment. They look tired and sleepy, and then the holographic screen's covered up again. Yeah, I think Ismeria is gonna collapse. Can I
Can't
knock
catch
out?
you.
Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna ask if someone
Yeah,
was gonna
exactly.
catch.
Very cool. And so technically, Ismeria addressed the rage and despair of the forest. So why don't you pick up a token for that? That's one of the forest moves.
Kristen, how do you catch Ismeria? Is
Important
it like
question.
a sack of flour or potatoes?
It's like
Up again.
I'm like pulling their hand towards me.
Oh.
And then,
Aww. Is that a leer? Did anyone hit a leer?
No.
No.
They have to ask they have to ask for my advice or tell me what they need.
Which is what I was trying to do.
Oh, so yeah, I just went ahead and did it.
Perfect. And so I think this is a moment when we cut back to Grist. And what do we see?
There's a moment like the fire is fading, like the little god is gone, you know, like Rose is still there, but alive, thankfully, right? So like for a moment, like Grist like sees, you know, Ysmeria like fall and like takes a half step forward, but sees like Kristen catch him, and like scans to like to see like if Xander's doing okay. Like is Xander upright?
I think like Xander, nothing bad has happened to Xander today. like Xander's mostly been fine, like physically anyway. Like right, he's working through some shit, but like Xander looks honestly pretty okay. Like they've saved 024. They helped a little bit with the little god, and is it is mostly just kind of making is probably I think at this point heading over to his Mary and Chris to check on them,
cool,
since they're nearby anyway.
Sounds good. Great. Then in that case, Chris sees that everyone's like mostly okay, and they just go, all right, Rose, I'm so sorry about that, but it had to be done. Where did you say River was? One moment. Mary, are you Mary?
Yeah, and I think at this point, well, with that cue, then Mary has basically dissipated from Grist's back.
Wait, like you mean you've like evaporated?
Well, yeah.
You're like gone. You're like no longer there.
I mean, Jamie, am I dead? But like I think I've definitely, at this moment at least, like I'm not there.
Oh, you know what? I want to ask before Grist has a moment to react. You gave a part of yourself to the forest, Mary. What grows from it?
Oh, I think popping out of the ground. It's like a grove of like mushrooms, and then popping out of there is actually it flickers a little, like it's sort of holographic, but it's a tiny red umbrella.
Is there a particular like symbolic significance?
Mary usually wears a raincoat that is red, or
oh my god. Okay, so it's pretty so it's pretty. It feels like a freaking like gravestone. Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying she's dead. I'm just saying you cued me.
I did. I'm so sorry. I'm like, here, stab me, and you stab me, and I'm like, why, Agatha? Why?
How dare?
Why is this dagger bigger than I thought it would be? That stabs me through the heart.
Right. Okay. Then in that case, Gris is like notices that Mary like isn't on his back. Like turns, sees the umbrella, and freezes. And just sort of says in a very calm voice, Rose, where did Mary go?
And I think Rose will look at you shocked and be like, and you see Rose like crumple down onto the ground, their hands near the red umbrella, and they start crying.
She was right here. She was on my back. Where did Mary? And Gris is starting to call out Mary's name. Is there a response?
There's like a breeze that ruffles Gris' hair.
Oh my god, like does it like smell like you?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Can I also say, just to add to these daggers, since we know that the broken mirrors reflect the forest it once was, I want to say like we can see in the mirrors there's a younger version of Mary holding a red umbrella and a red raincoat.
Okay, is this like pre-San Telmo, Mary?
Yeah.
Like, oh god. Okay. And then in that case, Grist just sort of like freezes, and they fall to their knees, in front of the umbrella, and they like reach out with trembling fingers to touch it. Does anything happen when they touch like the hood of the umbrella?
I mean, I guess Jamie can decide, but I'm sure it feels like a mushroom.
Yeah, I want to say like as you touch it, like the earth starts to shift and move, and it's like white starts to break through, and it looks like bone, and it's a skeletal hand that reaches out and gently takes your hand. And I think that's where we're gonna end.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so that's Balikbayan Into the Dark for today. Whew, that was like such a whirlwind. Lots of pain, lots of angst. This group is so good in angst. Good job, everybody. So I just want to make sure, like, we did end up picking up a lot of tokens. So Mary, you do get a token for giving a partner to yourself to the forest. I just want to make sure everybody picked up a token for facing the trouble of the spirit realm and its complications. Basically, if you described how despair screwed around with you or reflected, then you definitely have a token from that one. But yeah, so that is, I think we have enough time if people want to describe how they spend their tokens, if they want to, on any part of the city, or we can save that for like the next session. How are we feeling about that?
I don't have any tokens, so y'all go ahead.
And we dump them in the spirit realm so we can get our other sorry. Can we dump it in Soulad so we can get our other PC back?
I mean,
that's also a good point. Though I could argue, if you still want to unlock the lab, we could have. I can very easily connect that.
I'm okay with.
Poor Mary shows up in the lab. Oh my gosh, that's like such
I'm dead.
Yo, portal to Soulad, like the freaking gate in Big Hero 6, though. Oh man. I'm cool with either one, honestly. Like that's fine. I'm okay with
I feel like, I mean, there's only 4 left, and sunk cost fallacy, so I kind of want
I'll put my 2 in. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll put my 2
in.
Oh, all right. Oh, all right.
Sorry.
I'll put 1 in. And you can put 1 in, Leandro.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Boom.
Compromise there.
Perfect. And so I think just to reflect that, we're not sure what it is yet, but we just see this flickering fluorescent light, the slab of concrete. And we see like whoever that mysterious figure was talking to on the screens earlier comes through, and we say, we've acquired the San Telmo as you requested. And so that's where we're really, really ending. That was the after credit scene.
Ooh.
So
Good.
All right, so that is Balikbayan Into the Dark, and we'll thank you so much, everybody. And so we'll do our outros. So we'll tell everybody who we are and where you can find us. I'll go ahead and start again. My name is Jamie. I use they them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Temporal Hiccup. And you can find my games, including this one, Balikbayan Returning Home, on temporalhiccup.itch.io. And I want to say thank you so much for Asians Represent. We have one more session. I'm so excited, so sad to see where we get up to. Balikbayan Returning Home is currently in development. There's big news for it coming this year. So I hope everyone can stay tuned for that. But yeah, so that was me. And then we're going to continue in the tradition of reverse character corp. Keeper order. So Agatha, where can we find you?
Y'all can find me on Fridays, again with the wrap up at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can also find me on Twitter at Mindy Shrimp with 2 Y's. That's where I mostly hang out. On to Connie.
Hey everyone, I'm Connie, pronouns they, he, and she. I played Grist. You can find me on Twitter at TransPlanarRPG and on my personal Twitter at @ByConnieChung. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm the GM and executive producer for a D&D live stream actual play campaign with an all transgender cast led by people of color, and we stream Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time, including this Saturday. So we'd love to have you. This is my cat, Bobo. He says hello, and yes, he makes many an appearance on our stream as well. And I will now pass things along to, I believe it's going to be our lovely Xander next.
Yeah, hello, I'm John. I play Xander, for whom nothing bad happened this episode, and I feel kind of bad about that. No, I feel bad about that. There's guilt involved there, for sure. But you can find me on Twitter at Rymasa, RY0MASA. I do this game here on Asians Represent, as well as Entanglement, which is an Expanse RPG that streams on Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m. EST, when we're not being the Scottish play of TTRPG shows. It's wild. For those of you who don't know, we started this game last year, got 2 episodes in, and then everything went to hot, shit. And so we put it off for a year, and then we started again this January by not playing for 3 weeks in a row because of technical issues and just all kinds of stuff. So it's great. It's the space RPG. I can't say its name. I've already said its name in this pitch, and that's a problem because I've cursed this week, clearly. But other than that, I stream on Twitch at Ryomasa, RYOMASA, because I actually have my name there. On Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m., I'm a variety streamer, so I play kind of whatever game I like. Usually it's some combination of Hades, Destiny 2, and Final Fantasy 14. So hopefully see some of you there.
I'm Tane, and you can find me on Twitter at TaneTut. All my other links are there. On Tuesdays, I'm playing the Risk campaign over at Nerds with Dice. It's from 8 to 11 p.m. EST.
My name is Leandro. I've been Ismeria, and whoever else Ismeria has been. You can find me on Twitter at LPondoc. That's LPONDOC. Again, shout outs to the Roll Plus Bond anniversary stream happening this weekend. Games we're playing basically, like I said, starting from 12 a.m. Friday, ending at 12 a.m. Monday. Again, we are raising funds for the Native American Rights Fund. So check that out. You can find them on Twitter at Roll Plus Bond, or I'll just be retweeting them throughout the week. Hopefully next week I'll have something else to plug. Working on something. Maybe we're out by then, so I can at least plug that. We'll see. So at least I have a deadline. There we go. But that's it for me.
Yeah, and so before we end the stream, I just want to take note that because I live in the Philippines, it means we're one day in the future. And today, right now, it's February 25, which is the last day in the year 1986 of the People Power Revolution, which happened in response to decades of oppression from an oppressive autocratic rule from President Marcos. And so I want to say that Balikbayan is inspired by the many revolutions around the world, but quite notably the People Power Revolution. And even though it was known as, it's most famous for being a non-violent revolution, but I do want to say that a lot of people had to fight violently to get to that point. So I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that very special day today. But that's about it. So thank you so much for everybody for tuning in to Balikbayan Into the Dark, and we'll see you next week for our last session. But yeah, so everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.